we can start. Yeah, sure. Okay. Stefan, you want to say something? Mm, I don't think he wants to say something. Okay. So, hey everyone, welcome to our first Code Dev call for 2025, and it's great to see you all back after the holiday break. So, before we dive in, just a quick reminder that we are recording this call and we'll share the notes on GitHub afterwards. And as usual, please stay muted when not speaking and feel free to drop any questions in the chat. And is everyone able to hear me properly, clearly? If you can give me a thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay. So we have got a quite an exciting agenda today with several important updates to cover, particularly around version 013.4. So first up, we have Ariel to walk us through the version 013.4 implementation overview. Ariel, I know that there has been a lot of discussion around the transaction executor API and system contracts. So would you like to give us an update on where things stand regarding that?
Yes. So I think I may have been too pessimistic in my previous message, but I'll elaborate. So now the blockifier has already as of the previous version, but now let's say it's more dominant in a way. The transaction executor API, it sits in transaction executor RS. It has this function execute transaction sequentially. And it handles basically all the state setup for you. So as far as I know, nodes today have to initialize the state, initialize the block context, call some pre-processing methods on the block, and then loop over the transactions and call transaction.execute on every single one, get the result in state, do stuff with it, and move on. So ideally, the executor is meant to encapsulate all that for you and hopefully reach a situation where nodes are sort of aligned on the execution code using the blockifier, because the API is very clear and self-contained and there's not a lot of room for tricks. At the moment, though, it's missing state transaction level state diffs. It does not return them. As far as I understand, at least from Pathfinder, the way to get them is only by holding the state objects post every transaction. So you sort of peel the external layer to get the state diffs of the latest transaction and move on. And the executor does not expose this yet. So there are two options. One, we'll include it in a subsequent blockifier RC. That's what I hope for. We still haven't released RC0. I'll update about it in a bit, but RC0 will not include the transaction executor changes, but I'm hoping that the subsequent one will. Worst case scenario, as far as I understand, and right now I feel let's say convenient with it. The existing methods of execution that do not rely on the executor, which is basically what I said in the beginning, looping through the transaction, calling execute, getting the result in state, is fine. Originally, I suspected it causes problems because of the new system contract and the transaction executor sort of bundling for you everything that needs to happen. It handles updating contract at address 2 after running all the transactions. But for trace block transactions and estimate and all the methods that require execution in the RPC, you don't really need that. These are not transaction level state diffs, so they are never expected to be returned. except on the block state diffs, which is what the sequencer tells you about, and they don't affect execution. Contracts are not able to get the storage of contract address 2 ever. So there is no, let's say, even room for bugs because it's not possible for contracts to access it. This is unlike very old bugs that we had around block hashes at address 1, where nodes and the sequencer disagreed on the execution. But address 2 is literally for commitment purposes, and contracts have no and will never have access to it. Yes, so that's everything I have to say about the execution APIs. I don't know if there are any questions, uncertainties. Okay, so I'll carry on timeline-wise. I hope that RC0 will be released today. What's mostly stopping us now is simplifying the build process of the Blockifier, which got significantly more complicated with the LLVM dependencies. If it won't happen today, it will be early next week. And by early, I hope I mean Monday. Yep.
And I actually wanted to ask one more question is like, do we intend to share this pre-release notes that you have shared as a Google Doc to like the community, or do we want to keep it to ourselves until it?
We do want to share it. My intention was to basically throw it in a gigantic thread on the community forum. Just still haven't done it, but yes, this is the intention to share it there.
So thanks for that comprehensive update, Ariel. This gives us a good picture of where we are at right now. So I don't believe anyone has any question about the implementation approach or timeline. If so, they can raise their hand, but I think he already mentioned it. So let's move on to the next topic. Leo, I know we have been working on the new resource model. So would you mind walking us through the high level approach that you guys are taking with the new Starknet resources, particularly around gas optimization and stateful compression?
Yeah. Basically, this Starknet version introduces a new resource called L2gas, which is supposed to contain all the resources used in execution. So what before was known as steps and built-ins, this will be translated into L2gas, and also like more blockchainy resources, for example, call data, events, and things like that. So everything that basically L1 gas is only for messages from L2 to L1, and for DA if we're in DA mode of call data and not of blobs. So this is basically the what's happening at the level of resources. So to reiterate, there will be L1 gas, L2 gas, and L1 data gas. So with the new Sierra version, Sierra has a way of counting of gas metering. I think Ariel already posted in the community forum about how it works, and basically new contracts that will be compiled with the new compiler will use this gas metering. This also means that the metering happens a little bit different than what happens if you ran the same code in the VM. In the VM, there were various in the VM, there is a way to get the final resources, which is tied to how it was proven with Stone. So this involves layout and all. The TLDR is the VM takes a maximum of the resources in the run, so maximum between steps and built-ins. On the other hand, the Sierra gas metering is a counter. So it's a sum basically of all the serial gas that you consumed. And the tariffs of the actions, so for example, steps and or syscalls, they all get summed together. And the tariffs are really per trace cell that will be proven, while all the story of max resourcing and layouts that was in the VM was not really per trace cells, rather it was per layout. So this is a bit low level, but the TLDR is that the Seragas metering mechanism gives a better price, like a more accurate price. And this is what's gonna enter in 13.4. So instead of speaking about compression, I would just like to mention that because of these new gas metering in Sierra, there is like a technical, let's say, issue that has come up, and let me bring it up again in this wide forum. But we told some client teams already. Ariel has a post in the Full Node Collab channel that I invite you all to look at. So the issue is about the fee estimation. With this new gas metering, there is a possible situation in which the final gas counter at the end of the run is smaller than the max during the run. So there may be a case in which you have, during the run, you reach the maximum consumed of 1 million gas, but then because of how the metering works with redeposits of gas, you end up with a lower gas consumed at the end. This brings issues with the estimate fee. In particular, this requires node client teams to implement a way around it. So I think it's best not to go into the details, and I invite you all to look at the post of Ariel in the channel and take it from there. But yeah, let's just say that this is a feature that should be implemented already for this version. Yeah, that's it.
I'll just add this essentially exists in Ethereum as well, or any chain which has the notion of redeposits. The gas consumed that I am getting on the first attempt to estimate the fee may not be enough, like Leo said, to successfully run the transaction if this is also my start gas, because it also counts the redeposits I accumulated. So it's very clearly stated in, for example, ref code, where first attempt they start with a high amount of gas, second attempt they take the gas consumed from the first iteration, but add the redeposited amount throughout the run. There are technical issues in Starknet because we don't have a way to get this redeposited amount, so we kind of have to guess, and most of the times this number is going to be small. And this is exactly the point where like the resolution gets higher, and we distinguish between transactions that involve tail recursions and transactions that did not involve tail recursions. But the corollary of this is most transactions, and again, most is transactions without non-tail recursions. 2 executions are probably enough to get a good enough fee estimate. For those, and only for those fancier transactions, we'll probably need, let's say, a full-blown search.
Okay. I believe like we should now move on to the next topic because like we are a little crunch on time. So let's hear from different client teams. Christian, would you want to start off with Pathfinder's progress? So I'm like particularly interested about hearing the integration work that is going on. So if you
Sure.
can start with it.
Yes, indeed, we are working on integrating the new Blockifier version, plus implementing all the changes that are required for us to sync the new integration network. I have just updated our public integration node with the latest available snapshot version of Pathfinder that we have that has support for syncing integration. And now we have initial support for execution, so we can generate traces. And the only missing thing is the fee estimation work that Ariel has just mentioned. And we also seem to be missing gas estimates for inner calls in transaction traces. That is also an ongoing discussion between the Blockifier team and us, how we can compute the values that are reasonable for those calls. And since the JSON RPC08 specification has some last-minute changes too, we'll surely have to implement those, like the removal of block ID from subscribe transaction status, and a couple of other last-minute changes. So that's pretty much our status with respect to the news and upcoming Starknet version.
Okay. So thanks, Christian. And today we have Rodrigo as well. So Rodrigo, how about the Juno team? What's the news since our last call?
Hi. Yeah. So on Juno's side, we haven't yet started integrating the new Blockifier. We're going to wait for Starknet's release in order to add it to us. And that includes also the new fee mechanism. On the side of WebSocket, all work there has been completed. Yeah, we are just missing right now get storage proof, but we are already the code is out and we are reviewing it in order to merge it. Finally, regarding the system contract updates, we were doing some tests on Sepolia, and there are some bugs there we are investigating. So not much information to offer on that right now. We will show that later. That's it from me.
Okay, thank you. And from the KSR Labs teams, I
Yep.
think Antrio is present, or
Can you hear me?
okay, yeah, okay, hi,
Yeah.
yeah, yes, Nathan, you're audible.
Yeah, it's me. So currently we have. So I would like first to talk about Madara. We just released the Starknet app chain, the Starknet stack. So you can just deploy your own Starknet app chain with the entire flow of proving and everything. So it's pretty cool. Regarding the core development, we are currently stabilizing Madara for this purpose, for the Starknet stack. Regarding 080, we are missing 3 subscription RPC methods before we have it all. So we hope to have it before testnet. Before 0.13.0 is on testnet. 0.13.14 is on testnet. And we have a branch that is currently compatible with the latest Blockifiers, so that we can run Kernel native. We already played with it a bit. It should be easy to implement it after a Starkware official release. And the best news today is that we have currently an open PR with P2P working. And I will let Charlotte, which is currently here, explain about it, maybe.
Yeah, so basically, over the past month or two, we've been working on peer-to-peer, so catching up with the peer-to-peer spec. And we nearly have sync, so basically we can already have other nodes sync to us. And we've been able to have that for some time now, but the news is that we can almost sync from Pathfinder and Juno, which is cool. And what I really hope to have in for the next the next Core Dev Summit is to have that and like transaction propagation, so mempool, and block propagation, because like once we have that, we have nothing blocking us from integrating Malachite, even though it's not gonna be very stable on our site, because like that's a very new implementation. That would be really great to unblock the Malachite integration in Madara. So make a consensus node. And yeah.
Okay, perfect. So thanks all the client teams for the detailed updates. And now let's talk about the JSON RPC 0.8.0 implementation. But before we start that, there's an important announcement that I would like Ilya to make. So Ilya, there's a discussion about the Core Dev Summit, which I believe you would want to make. After that,
I can see Ilya in the call, so he probably something came up on his end.
Okay.
Yeah, I can just say what I think he wanted to say, which is that maybe to sync somehow next week or something and make sure that all the client teams come sort of prepared to the meeting and have a more or less defined agenda that everyone agrees on. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
Okay. So has the date been finalized for this Core Dev meeting or not?
I don't have any info, honestly.
Okay.
I think yes, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
As
so
far
I
as I
think
know, it's on 27th January, as far as my knowledge.
27, 28, hi. So it's decided for 27, 28 in Warsaw.
Okay.
If I can jump in there just quickly, we are busy with the draft agenda that is already out. We will share that on the group a bit later on. But yes, completely agree, Leo. There needs to be an agenda, and it will be professionally driven and run to make sure that we maximize everybody's time there.
Okay. So I think we still have 5 minutes left, so we can quickly wrap up the JSON RPC part. So if any of the client team would like to start with this, maybe Juno first. We have Ryan here about the JSON RPC and WebSocket integrations. Ryan?
Maybe I can say, like, first we have all the JSON RPC methods implemented. We are just missing, as I said, the 3 subscription methods, but it's working fine.
Okay. With Pathfinder, we have covered it. So, and there was this one question which I would want to ask on the Starkware team is like moving on to the wallet and dApp API changes. Do we have someone from Starkware who can give us an overview of the migration approach and what teams should be preparing for?
Yeah, I can take that. Basically, the work there is mostly on the wallet side. Wallets, all popular wallets, Bravo, Sargent, OKX, MetaMask have already implemented the API on their side. On the developer end, they need to create a new object basically when interacting with the wallet, which is called the wallet account, which is receiving the wallet object and a provider. And this abstracts basically the API communication, just instead of communicating by directly invoking the object as it was done in Starknet.js right now. There is a message protocol between the wallet and the dApp, which removes the need for coupling of Starknet.js versions on the front end and on the wallet side. So as long as they are speaking the same API language, they're sending the requests. So yeah, requests don't have any information on fees or transaction versions or any such things. They are just calls with selectors and call data, and the wallets are responsible for adding any extra data, responsible for the fees. This has been live since summer, more or less. And yeah, as I said, wallets are already running with it. Dapps, as far as I know, are also running with it. So yeah, transition is already far underway.
Thank you for that. And Ryan, is your mic working now, or shall we just? Okay, so the Starknet Go updates are that the RPC methods are all terminated except for the WS methods, WebSocket methods. These are currently being implemented. And Ryan could have given a more brief update, but I believe his mic is not working. So, well, this has been a really productive discussion because we are running out of time now. So thank you all for joining today. Just a reminder that our next call will be on 30th January 2025, same time. And we'll share the recording and notes on GitHub as usual. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.